Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner, and today I'm going to be working on a new design team project for Artesprix Iron-On Ink. You know, I've been playing with that quite a bit lately, and this time I've got a bigger project to work on. I'm going to be working with it's not the blank of the month, this one is a poly canvas tote bag that I still have in the packaging. So let me go ahead and first just take that out so you guys can see the bag. Artesprix has a lot of fun blanks to work with, and of all shapes and sizes. We can take our crafting off of just doing cards. So this bag is approximately 17 inches wide and about 12 inches tall. So that is quite a big project to work on. And I've decided that I'm going to basically put my design in the center, and which means an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is going to be fine. That also means that this is one of the few times that we won't need to actually trace out the blank onto our paper so we know where it goes. I'm going to be doing it all on probably some cardstock, but I've got this is going to be my general idea, okay? So another thing I've decided to do that is, it's one of those things that I'm thinking, you know, I bet I could do this, but I haven't tried it yet. So I'm going to be giving this one a try. And that is, I'm going to be using my scan and cut and some SVGs for this. So the SVG that I've chosen, let me get that pulled up for you guys. The design I decided I want to work with today, that is an SVG, is actually from Erin Reed Makes. Erin Reed is a good buddy of mine, and she has her own shop online. This is going to be at erinreedsmakes.com, and I decided I want to use this fun image up here that is I Love Crafts. Can't show it on this page, but I can show it to you in just a minute when I get that imported into my Canvas workspace. So I've already got this pulled up on my PC. This one is actually part of my browser. I use Chrome, and it is a website, so you have that capability. But you can also use this with the downloaded version. I have that one on my desktop as well. So in both of them, they basically both work the same way. We're going to be able to import an SVG, and most of these, if you hover over them with your mouse, you'll be able to see what they do. This one says import from your computer, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. And let me find the image that I was wanting to use. It's in this file. So I'm going to actually copy the destination. It's the easiest way I found to basically copy things from one Windows Explorer to another. So clicking on the arrow will bring me back into that one. And this is the graphic I want to use. Now there's the graphic, which is a PNG file, and there is also a graphic, which is the SVG. I'm going to use the SVG. I'm just going to go ahead and import that in. And there it is. It shows up on my canvas there. Now this is a 12 by 12. I don't think I really need it that large, so I'm going to size this down a little bit. By click and drag around it, it'll put a box over the whole thing. And there is also, it's been a while since I played with the one that was desktop version. I usually use the website, but I wanted to show you that they're both available and they're not really all that hard to use. I know that we can do just like a lot of other things, just do a click right there. And I've decided I do want this one to be just under 11 inches. So if I do that, that's right around 10. So let me bring it over to the edge just to get a better measurement on it. I think I'm going to go about 10.5. And the reason for that is I want it to be nice and big. So what I'm wanting to do is I want to have a printout of what I want my layout to be so I can make sure everything is positioned exactly where I want it. This is probably not 100% necessary, but this is the way I'm going to go because I am a little bit too much perfectionist. So I've opened up Microsoft Word and I am going to insert that image that we've got from the file. Let me just do a click and drag of that one. And I'm going to be picking the one that is the PNG. Let me just make this a little smaller, and then I can grab the PNG. This is the one that says I Love Crafts. I'm going to just drop it right onto my canvas. Now this image here, it does show that it's a bit bigger, right? I need to make sure that this part, the part that has all of the images on it, all the crafty tools and the words, needs to be at 10.5. So I am going to crop this picture format. There we go. And then we've got a crop button right here. And I can drag that on down and basically just frame it right around the edges of where my image is, right? And then when I click off to the size, that releases that crop. And then I can click on it and I can drag it out so it reaches my 10.5 mark, as that is what size I wanted it to be on my, when I am actually cutting everything out. So let's see what this is going to look like. I've got it set to web layout. If you have it set at the wrong thing because of something you were doing last time, it's not going to look completely right. So now it's showing me what it's going to look like on my paper, right? So I'm going to change this so it goes on top. I'm going to move this to be right in the center. And then I can print this out on my printer and it's going to show me what it's going to look like once I get it laid out on my canvas. Now, the reason I'm doing all of this stuff up front is that I want to make sure everything is exactly where I want it before I get started. So let's go ahead and print that out. Okay, so this is about the size of everything that I'm going to want to put on here. And you can see that when I put it in the center, that is going to look perfect. I think that is going to be a great placement. And this makes it easier for me to be able to see where I want everything. Now, the next step I'm going to do is I need to make some paper, some cardstock that I can die cut out, or yeah, I can cut out with my cutting machine to cut out all of those fun images in some different colors. And to do that, I'm going to grab out some of my Artesprix paints and some cardstock. So I just deleted a bunch of video because I made a big mistake, because this is something you guys need to see. What do we do when we are trying to do a transfer onto a substrate like the canvas bag we're going to be working? We need to mirror any words, otherwise it's not going to look right. I'm not going to be able to use these now, because if I try to say this R, if I try to transfer it, it's going to transfer backwards. So that, or I mean, another option would have been to just cut on the back of the cardstock, and that's fine. But either way, I need to redo my painting. So I was using the Artesprix paints to paint some cardstock and then get it all cut out on my Scan and Cut. So that is what I'm going to do now that I've done it once. That also means, though, that other than the letters, I have got a bunch of bits that I can still use on my project and kind of expand the design a little bit. So I'm not going to waste anything that I've already done. So the first time around, I used a lot of the red and blue, and so it's a lot of the darker colors. So I think this time around, I'm going to use a lot more of the yellow. I'm also going to make sure that I go into the center line of the card, because first time around, I had a white band across there. And I'm going to come closer to the edge too, just so that I can make sure that regardless of where I put it, I'm not going to have a bunch of white, because that is another thing that I noticed first time around, is because of the placement of this. I mean, this is only like about a third. The image is about a third of the page. So the parts that are going to be used are kind of the ones in the middle. And that was, of course, the area that I left white. And it was not intentional. It's kind of where I just didn't think about it when I was doing the painting. I thought I was covering everything that I needed. And I've got, oh, that's just a little bit of water from the brush. Okay, because I'd already cleaned my brushes. Let's got a little bit of the red. And I am not going to worry about cleaning my brush in between, because you know what? I would like to have some blending going on anyway. And now we've got a little bit of streakiness there. I think that's going to be kind of cool. And I'm going to add a little bit of water, though, and that is going to help these colors blend a bit better. And after saying I wasn't going to clean my brush, I decided, you know, I do want to have a little bit more of that yellow showing through, so I need more clean yellow on top of and mixed in with that red. So this is going to be a little bit of a brighter orange in this area, if all goes to plan. Let's go ahead and bring that out a little bit more. And there are some of the letters in there. There is the T and the I and the C that I could possibly use on the second one if I decide that I like it better. Let's grab some blue. And I'm going to bring in, make it into somewhat of a green up here. So I'm going to spread it out a little bit with some water there. Bring in some more blue and bring it on down. Okay, now I'm going to get some more of that yellow and bring that in and bring that out to be a little bit of a green over into the blue. Do you think I have a little bit too much of that in the center? So I'm going to just dab some of that up. And you know what? This is, the whole theme on this one is crafts. So that means messy is fine. You don't have to have all your colors matching or anything like that. All the colors mixed together, kind of rainbow-ish, are going to look awesome in the finished product. Okay, so there we've got a bunch of red there, a bunch of yellow there. I'm going to grab some more of the red and some more of the blue. I'm going to have a little bit of purple down here so that we're going to have one of our scissors or this is the glue gun can be kind of a purpley color. So grabbing out some of that blue, bringing it on down. I think I want to have some of that blue here too, but I want some more of the red coming back. Ooh, that actually looks kind of pretty too. Mixing in some more of that red going forward, because this is kind of where the heart is, and I think that is going to be kind of cool. One of the fun things on the machine is I can move things around any which way I want to on the mat, so I can basically move all of the items to a different section. But I did want to kind of keep everything flowing in the same direction. Okay, and then I'm picking up some of the red up in here again. So I am going pretty much in rainbow order, but I'm just starting at a different point on each side so that it's, you know, they're not exact. Okay. Okay, and then more blue. Yeah, more blue. And then I can bring in some more of the yellow and then make some orange down here at the end. So now we've got some more green. And this is a fun way to practice your colors. Practice some mixing. I do have some kind of brown here, but I have a feeling that when we get it onto the some more yellow there. When we get it onto our canvas bag, it's going to be more of a green instead of a brown. So these colors are all going to be muted. I mean, I think they look great the way they are, but I know it's going to be really, really bright, real bright and pretty when we get it onto that canvas bag. Okay, so I still need that. I needed some red. Oh, I've got a little bit of blue in there, but that's okay. I just blend that in, and that's going to turn it into a little bit of purple over there. Put some more red down here, and now I'm just going straight to the paper. I mean, there's really no reason other than you might use too much. There's no reason not to, you know? Touch of water to spread it around. And then I do want some more of that yellow, so I'm going to put some of that straight to paper because I wanted this area to be more of an orange. Okay, and then spread it out. Okay, so now all I need to do is wait for my newly painted sublimatable paper to basically to dry, and then I can cut everything out and get it applied to my my canvas bag while we're waiting for the paint to dry. I figured I would go ahead and show you a little bit more in the canvas workspace from Brother. So what I'm going to do, because I need to I need to mirror this, and I really only need to mirror the word craft. So I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to do a right click, and all I did to select it, let me do that again. I just clicked and then drag a little circle around it to select those. If you wanted to do the whole thing, you could use Command Control A, just like you would normally do on any of your other software. And I'm going to do a right click and then say group. So now it's all basically one word, right? And now I need to do another little edit. I'm going to tell it I want it to flip. I want it to flip horizontal. So now it is backwards. Okay, so now when I export this out to my scan and cut, it's going to have that word backwards so that when I cut everything, it's going to be able to be sublimated. So let's go ahead and send that over to the machine. I'm just going to click on File and then Export Transfer FCM File. And then I'm going to tell it I want to do it over the internet. Now, the reason I'm doing that is I have mine set up with a Wi-Fi connection. You can get a special card for that if you don't already have one, or you can always export a file that you can put on a USB stick and then plug it into the machine manually, or if you have a USB cable connecting your computer to your machine. I'm going to go ahead and hit this one to transfer the file. And it says the registered machine is ready to download the transferred file from the internet. So we are all good to go on the machine. So now I just need to wait for the paint to dry on that cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is good enough. Okay. I had to stop in the middle of what I was doing because the paper was not dry enough and it started ripping a big hole. So what I'm doing, I'm changing my plan a little bit because everything cut out fine the first time around and I've gotten most of the images. All I really need is the word. So I'm going to put this back on. I cut off the rest of it and you can see how it ripped, meaning my paper trimmer didn't even want to cut through this thing. So here's a tip. Make sure that your paper is completely dry. I just sat here for the last few minutes with my heat gun to make sure that this was good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and what I was trying to avoid is making it warp because this one did warp a bit. So I'm going to use the brayer again and try to get that to go down as flat as I can. And then I'm going to use some painter's tape, some purple tape to hold it down, especially across the top and the bottom, because those are going to be the parts that try to stick when it goes into the machine. And then we're going to cut out the word and maybe a little extra depending on how much space I've got. Okay, so I've got everything basically there. I need to go back to where we were trying to do an edit. Apparently I saved it to my machine, so it's going to still be in there. I just have to go back in there and get it, and then I'm going to do some editing and get rid of some things. I need to do this first to see what it's going to look like with the paper taped down. So we're going to go ahead and scan that in. And then we can take a look and see how that looks. So I really can't see anything. Let's see, I should be able, that's not what I want to do. I want to be able to see it a little bit better. So I'm changing the background. So this is so you can see it like really, really bright and colorful and exactly what you're seeing when it gets scanned in. This is where it's a little bit more muted. So now I can see my words better. Awesome. And this piece is actually about the right size to be able to cut everything out. I would just need to move a few things around. So that's what I'm going to do. And to move anything around, as we tried doing earlier, I go to Edit, and then we're going to select what object I want to do. I think I want to start with the heart and move it over. Don't want it to cover up any of the S, and then I'm going to go to the I. Actually, I'm going to move that one down a little bit too, to give a little bit more space up top. And then we'll go to the I. If I can get it. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. There we go. Now I'm going to move that one over. so it's closer to the heart. And then I'm going to do something with my scissors. Now, I don't have to do any of these because I've got an extra, but I'd like to be able to use it. So I'm going to move it down a little bit away from the edge of that tape. And then here's another trick you're able to do. Going under Object Edit, you're able to rotate it a little bit. So I'm going to take that and say I want to rotate it about, let's see what it looks like for 10 degrees. 10 degrees is probably too much. Let's go back, going the opposite direction. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then I'm going to again go back and move it over a little bit. So now it is pretty much in all of the area that we need to cut. There might be a little bit of white, but not a whole lot. I think this looks pretty good, so let's go ahead and cut that. So hit OK, select, I'm going to select cut. And I'm going to go ahead and just tell it to go. And this time the paper should be dry enough so there shouldn't be any problem. I spent a few minutes with my heat gun on it to get that all cut. So it looks like everything cut out fine this time around. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the purple tape, and then we can take off the rest of our excess card. And what's fun is you could, if you wanted to, you could do something fun with the edges of this extra piece and put that on something as well. You could always do a second bag, and I may do that. So some of these are bits that I need to make sure stay in pretty much the right space, right? So what I need to do now is take all my little bits and start arranging them on here the way that they're going to go on the card. Okay, so I've got all of my bits, and what I'm going to start with is my letters here. I want to make sure that they're all lined up. Duh. Okay, I just need to basically turn all of my pieces over and add tape to the back that doesn't have the paint on it, and I can just line those up with the edge on my, basically with a straight edge, and it'll all be perfect. Awesome. Just like you do with your stamps and your dies and all the fun things that we do on cards. Now I can add my tape to the top of it, and I probably am going to need two pieces. So I'm going to just do, there we go for that one, and then do the same thing for this end. The other pieces that need to be kind of taped in place with each other are the two little glue bottles. Those are the only ones that I'm thinking probably matters that it's lined up correctly. The pencil, yes, kind of, sort of, but not necessarily. Okay, and now I can put some tape across the top here. And now those will stay lined up on our bag. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, and then I can start arranging all of this stuff on the actual canvas bag. So I'm going to start placing everything about where I think I need it on here, and I'm going by what my design here says. So we've got the word craft, and that needs to go here. So let's see, we've got, again, I am estimating by what it says on the paper. I want to have it kind of centered, moving those over a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some purple tape to tape this down to my design so I can place everything in there right where I want it. So this I need to have stay here. I'm going to hold that and lift, I hope, lift this up out of the way and just place that right down. And again, get my T-ruler to make sure it stays straight. This is my OCD, and looks like it's good. So I'm going to press that in place so that the tape is attached. I'm going to make sure I put some more tape down to make sure all of these stay where I want them. Okay, so that looks like it's good. Now I need to pick out the heart. So I've got two different hearts that I can go with. I think I want to go with this brighter red and purple. That I think is going to look good, and that needs to go about here. And let's see, is that about right? Gonna hold that one more time, try to make sure I don't move it. It's a little bit difficult when you've got when the paper is in the way. So hold that there, lifting up my paper. I'm just gonna place it right down and we're gonna say it's good. Because nobody is gonna know that this was based on a specific design or anything like that. So I'll tape that guy in place. And now I need to do the letter I. So let's flip that over. So again, we're placing everything with the color side down, right? Let me grab my ruler one more time. Just make sure everything is still lined up pretty well. And the heart is a little bit low, but that is actually perfect. That I do not mind a bit. I'm going to tape that guy down. So this is the only part that really needs to have any kind of rhyme or reason. It's just the words. I wanted the words to be straight. The rest of it, I can decorate whatever I want with it. I just need to have some tape to hold it all down. So let me go ahead and just add my little bits all over. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So now I just need to take up a lot of tape and tape everything down right where I want it. I think this is going to look pretty cool. Yay! Okay, so now that I've got everything taped in place, now comes the fun part. But before we get started with that, we need to take a look and see what temperature and what time do we need for this thing, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the website. Now on the Artesprix website, they have a page for the product, of course, and down here on the side, this is where you're going to find it on all of the Artesprix blanks. We've got the blank, what is called time and temperature. So for this specific project, we need to put it in there for 45 seconds and 400 degrees. So we need to get this guy ready to go and get put into that machine. So this is how we're going to do that. I've got some protective paper, and that's going to go on one side, and I need to go open another roll. So I'm going to cut another piece about the size of my entire project here. And then I'm going to take also, just to be overcautious, I'm going to take a piece of cardstock and put this on the inside as well. So the way that the sandwich is supposed to work, you've got one for under your project, one for on top of your project, and then of course your project is going to go in the center. So I'm going to put this one in there. I've got enough cardstock. I'm just going to grab another one and put it inside. And I don't think it really matters what color or anything like that. So I just grabbed a couple of them. And now I've got it covering, basically covering the whole thing. So it shouldn't do any transfer on the inside. Okay, so we've got that. So I'll put one on top, one underneath, and then I'm going to go take this over to my, my press and get everything set up over there. So I'm going to go ahead and set this for that 45 seconds that we talked about. Okay, and now I need to let it heat up. Okay, so I am setting everything up in my heat press. It's almost to 400, which is awesome. And I'm having the handle hang off the side so that hopefully it won't cause an issue or bring in any kind of the way. Got it mostly to the edge over here, and I am going to need to press it more than once because this is a fairly large, large image, and my press isn't big enough to accommodate the whole thing. Okay, looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and close this down. And the timer's already ticking away it started at 45 seconds, and it is going to go all the way down to 0. Okay, so I'm going to give it a little bit extra just to be on the safe side, and then we're going to go ahead and lift this up. Okay, and then I'm going to reposition this and move it down a little bit so that we can get the other side. So let's go ahead and get the other side pressed. So I'm going to gently remove one of the papers And just looking at it, let me just double check, thinking that the edge didn't quite get covered, so I might have to do another press. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, looks like all of the edges are taken care of, and just doing a quick glance, I can see under most of these, let me reposition a little bit. I can see kind of underneath them that it looks like they're transferred. So I'm going to take a quick glance underneath one of those, just lift one of these guys up a little bit with my tweezers. And look at that. That is amazing. I would say that this is a success. Okay, so I just brought this over from the heat press. Let's go ahead and take a look at all of the fun goodies. And I'm going to use a tweezers, I think, to remove each of these little bits. Not that it matters. They're not going to transfer anything else, so I don't think it really matters that much, but they are a little warm. I'm going to start over here. That is perfect. Love it. And there's enough color on this that if I wanted to, I could use this for another kind of project. It doesn't have to be sublimation. And it's possible that this would transfer a second time, but just lighter. So I think I'm going to keep those, and that may be an experiment for another day. Okay, go ahead and remove all of these goodies. Okay, so that is gonna finish up this project. This is awesome. Oh my goodness, I love this one. If you guys decide to do something similar, let me know. I would love to see what you make. Be sure to tag Artesprix inks with that. So that's hashtag Artesprix, A-R-T. Well, you'll see it down in the description. And be sure to tag me as well, Debbie J's Crafting Corner, or hashtag DJCC, which stands for Debbie J's Crafting Corner. This is amazing. I am so loving it. I'm glad that I picked that design, because now this is going to be my go-to little bag. I love this one. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. Be sure to check out this video over here, seeing another project that I made, creating stuff with Artesprix inks. And remember, if I can make it, yes, if I can make it, you can too. I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.